Here he comes. 3 behind you here. Still out there. Outside, Bailey. Outside.
Whoa, Kozlowski.
Well, look more. That's Matt Kenseth.
And now, your host for NASCAR TUBE, Evan Jones.
What is going on, you guys? NASCAR EJ coming to you once again from the NASCAR Tube, and we have a little special guest for you today. This was previously recorded just a few minutes ago. We'll get it started now. Joining me now is Josh Marler from Knoxville, Tennessee, local NASCAR analysis via FaceTime audio. Josh, what do you think about that race at Watkins Glen this past weekend?
Well, Watkins Glen, you know, it just gets better and better every year. I used to not be a big fan of road course racing. I thought it was a big snoozer, but in the past few years, the racing gets better and better.
It really does, and I mean, you look at Joey Logano and that whole Penske organization. They hadn't gone the victory lane in the past. I mean, without Joe Gibbs Racing interfering with their wins. It just really seems like they kind of been on a slump, but really they haven't. They've been running second place to Kyle Busch, seems like, for pretty well all of his wins that he's had. But Joey Logano really showed out the past 2 races. And I was really impressed by that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Your running order kind of got flipped there. You know, usually Kyle Busch above Joey Logano, but this week it was actually the other way around. Joey Logano sneaks out the win while Kyle Busch comes in second.
Right, and you look at A.J. Allmendinger. Just, you know, I said last week that that team had a really good shot this week, but if they keep making the same old mistakes that they keep making, they're just not going to finish with it.
Well, yeah, and it's like I've been saying, you've got to have good equipment to come and compete for a championship. And, you know, all these analysts are out here talking about how, oh, well, AJ's got a chance to get in the chase. So what if he's got a chance to get in the chase? He's not going to be a championship contender. You've got to bring good equipment to the track every week.
Right, and that proved last year to where he was out of the first round in the chase last year. Looking at let's look at the chase grid first. The chase grid, we're looking at really 5 guys on the bubble right now. We got Jamie McMurray, Paul Menard, Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, and Clint Bowyer. And now that Kyle Busch is into the chase, that knocked Austin Dillon out.
Absolutely, it did. And these 5 drivers, they've only got 4 or 5 more chances to get into the chase on wins. You don't want to be staring down the barrel of the opening of the chase and betting on points. I would much rather have the security of a win. And, you know, Clint Bowyer's definitely going to have to step it up. And all of us, none of us want to see Jeff Gordon miss the chase in his final season.
Right. And that's kind of a heartbreaker to me, seeing Jeff Gordon just struggle so bad. It's been terrible to see actually him struggle so bad. The Brickyard is past, and I thought he had a good shot there. It's almost tear-breaking that you see this guy that has started in the early 90s and won so many races, and this is the last time he's racing, actually competing for a championship at these tracks that he's actually left his mark at.
Well, Jeff Gordon always said that he would race until he wasn't competitive anymore, and the timing's coming out pretty well perfect. Not in and out every week, a race winner contender. So, you know, I hate to see Jeff go. I'd like to see him get a good win before the end of the season. But, I mean, let's look at it. Is he really going to be a championship contender? Probably not. But all we can do is hope.
It's just that inconsistency just has not. It hasn't picked. It's just the consistency is not picking up over the last even few years. And really since Steve Letarte had left that team. Going to Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart has not had a good year during this week the past 3 years. 2013, he broke his leg. He broke his leg. in a sprint car accident. Last year, 2014, he got involved with the wreck that killed Kevin Ward Jr. and the whole legal matters between that. And actually said this year, I said, man, the past 2 years has been terrible for this guy. He's got to catch a break. And I thought he was going to redeem himself because he's won 5 times at Watkins Glen, and I thought he had a shot. But then the news comes up this week that he's actually been sued by the family. And it just, to me, it seems like give the guy a break for 1 year. And I know he had to have been excited to go race at Watkins Glen.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, he's a contender there year in and year out until the last 3 years. And you know, talking about the lawsuit, the wrongful death lawsuit by the Ward family, my personal opinion on that is that they're just looking for money. That's all it is. They see somebody that's very, very rich, very successful, and they want a piece of the pie just because their son died. And, that's nothing to laugh at by no means, but that's the nature of the beast in racing. Had Kevin Ward Jr. done what he was supposed to do and stayed with his car instead of going down there trying to taunt Tony, he would still be here today racing. And, no one can sit here and tell me that Tony Stewart had a vendetta out there and was trying to hit him. It's just not, that's not right. But as far as Tony's career goes, I'm a huge Tony Stewart fan, but Tony has really got to get it in gear within this year or next year, or otherwise it's going to be time to step aside himself and let somebody get in that car that can win.
Right? Do you think it's possible? It's a possibility that he could actually become like Michael Waltrip, maybe race part-time and let his team, if it standed right now, you could have Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch, and Danica Patrick race, and him sit off to the side and be an owner.
I don't think you'll ever see Tony Stewart ever completely get out of a race car. He'll probably race all the way to the grave.
Right.
But, yeah, I think that, he could run a 5th car as a part-time schedule.
Possibly could. Going to Rob Kaufman, and we're kind of going back to the Clint Boyer situation here. Rob Kaufman, as you know, was the director over at Michael Waltrip Racing, and he has left and has bought the ownership of actually have bought out the Felix Sabates part of Chip Ganassi Racing. And basically, do you think that he's going to bring that 15 car over? And what does Toyota stand as at Michael Waltrip Racing?
Actually, truth is, there was a statement come out about a week or two ago from Felix Sabates himself. He's actually going to stick around for a few more years. Rob Kaufman's just going to be an additional investor into the team. However, I have it from my sources from Charlotte that the 15 will be going to Chip Ganassi Racing next year. But what I'm fearful of is what's going to happen to David Reagan. The poor guy keeps having bad breaks after bad breaks in his career. He can't stay in a car. But I think that if Michael Waltrip can get teamed up with a Furniture Row or some kind of a smaller team, he'll still have a car. He'll still have a ride. But I think the days of Michael Waltrip with Toyota are numbered.
Right, and you mentioned David Reagan. He could possibly still have a seat over at Front Row Motorsports where Brett Moffitt is sitting for him in the 34 car, which actually really replaced him, to say the least. But also looking at, let's throw in a little bit about Furniture Row Racing. They are talking about a manufacturer change this year, for 2016. Who do you think they could go with, Toyota or Chevrolet? I mean, Toyota, Chevrolet, or Ford? Well, Toyota or Ford. Excuse me.
Well, I think that, especially with what's going on with Michael Waltrip Racing, I really think that they're going to be better off going towards Ford. Furniture Row, when it was first incepted, was actually a Ford team. So right. I don't particularly see Furniture Row going back to Ford. However, talks going on already with Toyota. TRD's already said they would welcome them in with open arms. I really think their best option is to go towards Toyota, and if nothing else, that would help that would help bring in Michael Waltrip to merge those teams together.
It is, especially seeing how well strong these Camrys are this year.
Oh, for sure.
Going on to Joe Gibbs Racing, and really the comparison between the strongest team right now and not necessarily the weakest team. JGR is no doubt that they are the strongest team in the sport right now. You look at Hendrick Motorsports, which is usually 9 times out of 10 one of the top runners in the sport, at least first or second. And I'm really seeing them right now back down to about where, excuse me, my computer went off there a while ago, but going pretty well back down to where almost Roush Fenway is. They're not performing well at all. The only 2 cars that they've had win this season, and most likely going to make the chase unless Jeff Gordon makes it and has a possibility to make it, Jimmy Johnson has won and Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won.
Oh yeah, it's really sad. Hendrick's always been considered one of the top teams in NASCAR, and no doubt they still are. I mean, let's be realistic. Jimmy Johnson's got 4 wins, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has 2. But you know, one of the things I think's holding Hendrick back is Casey Kane, and I know Casey Kane's a fan favorite, especially with the female fans in NASCAR for sure. But I think that I don't really understand the eagerness to re-sign his contract, because let's just face it, the 5 has not been a true contender for wins week in, week out, or a contender for the championship for that matter since Mark Martin was driving it. But, you know, with the resurgence of Kyle Busch and, you know, all the Gibbs cars already being in the chase, they're really, really, really poised to make a very, very strong run at the championship in Miami. But even then, think about those possibilities. 4 cars from Joe Gibbs, as good as they've been this year, you could see them actually being in the championship round. It'd be a Joe Gibbs championship round.
Joe Gibbs guaranteed championship at Homestead.
There you go. First time Toyota's ever won a Sprint Cup championship.
Right, and well, that would be something to see them all make 4 in the end. You know, looking a little bit at Carl Edwards has really not performed the way we thought he would this season. And ever since I would never thought Kyle Busch would have even won 4 races in this season. I never would have thought it. He'd come in and he won 3 of those in a row, and he won all 4 of his races in 5 races, and that's impressive to be out nearly a quarter of the season. But we look at having Kyle Busch compared to Kenseth, Hamlin, and Edwards. I'm just surprised by this team of Kyle Busch and Adam Stevens.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know, it's not about whether Kyle Busch is going to make the chase anymore. It's the fact that how many more races is he going to win before we get to Rick? He's really good at Bristol. He's what I would compare as the modern day king of Bristol. You know, he might be a good winner there, but as much as Kyle Busch has been on fire lately, let's not forget, in recent history, Kyle Busch has not made it very far in a chase. He kind of just peters out in the middle of the chase. So will he maintain the momentum all the way to Homestead? We'll just have to wait and see.
Right, and he did say the closest he got to a championship was in 2008, where I think he did win. I think it was 8 races. Now, and he did say this past week, saying he hasn't felt this more confident since 2008. So maybe we're going to see a good run out of him. Now, speaking of Hendrick Motorsports, you look at Jimmy Johnson over there. We haven't got to the chase yet, and you know how that team performs under the chase. Now, we have not seen him perform like that under the chase grid, under the new point system.
That's very true. And everybody knows that Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson, they have it all figured out as far as the old point system. They can get out there and lead by quite a wide margin. Pretty much have the thing locked up come time they get to Homestead. But, you know, has Chad Knaus got this new chase format figured out? I don't know. Well, we've only seen 1 year of the new chase format. I think a lot is left to be seen.
Right, and
this year.
Right, and you look at, say they did make it to the Final Four at Homestead. You got to look at that team of Jimmy Johnson and say, Homestead is one of the very few tracks that they have not won at.
Yeah, I think it was only 4 tracks. I think I heard on the broadcast this weekend. 4 tracks, I think, all Jimmy has not won on. So in this new playoff format, you've got to go to Homestead to win the race.
Right.
You can't go there and plan on running the top 5 and winning the championship. It just won't happen. The competition is so high these days.
And that proved last year, and I actually think that some of these drivers will actually throw competition at them that aren't in the chase, that didn't make it to the Final Four, but they're really letting them duke it out, is what I saw last year.
Yeah, and people say, NASCAR team owners don't have team orders. Not so much come that race. If you've got 3 or 4 different teams, let's say Richard Childress, you've got Joe Gibbs, you've got Roush, and you've got Hendrick vying for a championship, you better believe the teammates of those respective teams are going to be helping that driver win their championship for their organization.
That's right. Real quick, Josh, who's your pick for Michigan this week?
Oh, Michigan. One of my favorite tracks these days. I got to go back a couple years. It's been a couple years since he won there, but my goodness, I think him and Greg Ives have got it together. I'm pulling for Dale Earnhardt Jr. this weekend to pull off the win in the Pure Michigan 400.
I think I got to go with the crowd favorite of Kyle Busch this week. The team's just showing so much dominance. Kind of fell back this past week at Watkins Glen, finished second. But hey, it was close between him and Harvick. But I got to give it to Kyle Busch this week. I think he's going to come away with the win.
Yeah, he's not slacking by no stretch of the imagination.
That's right. Josh, thanks for joining me today. I think that's going to pretty well do our broadcast. But I'll just end it right here. Thanks, guys, for watching. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, y'all have a nice day.